Yeah, and not a whole lot to latch on to, so we'll hit some of the big stories with Charlie right now. Charlie, welcome back. How you been, buddy?
Great. How you been doing this morning?
Doing very well. I'm sure you saw Pettin's comments about Russell Wilson, which Tiki and I both found interesting. I'm curious, Charlie, aside from that, because his comments kind of are what they are you convinced that Russell Wilson's taken the step forward, 16 touchdowns, no picks in his last 4 games, where he is no longer a manager and he's kind of stepped more into that elite file? Where do you rate him right now?
Yeah, I don't know about rating quarterbacks. This is the best he's played, and what he's doing differently is the ball, and it's a scheme thing. The ball was coming out quick. Now, remember, early in the year, the offensive line really struggled, and I still think they're not very good one-on-one matchups and pass protection, but they play better as a unit in pass protection, and that's coaching, and that's Tom Cable. But the ball is coming out quick. And then he'll sit in there and he'll make some big, deep throws. So I think that's where he's been better, but the scheme has helped him to get better. But he is playing outstanding right now.
Charlie, I'm wondering if you're a GM now, and you probably had some of these conversations. And you're looking at quarterbacks, are you looking for the guy? And I guess I'll answer this question now, not from when you were your general manager back a few years ago. And now, if you're looking for a quarterback, do you want that guy to be your franchise player, a guy who you can put build the pillars around, or do you just want the guy that can go actually win you football games? Because that's who Russell Wilson is, as opposed to like a Jameis Winston on the other side of it.
No, you take the guy that can go win it on his own, okay? So because then you have to fill in less players around him. What we have to see with Wilson is as people get a beat on what they're doing, and a good secondary starts squatting on those receivers and taking away the short throws, because I haven't seen anybody come up with a good defensive plan against their short passing game against. And they do a good job with the picking and the crossing of the receivers, so give them credit on that. But no, you take the guy that can put it on his shoulders and win it by himself.
Well, why does it feel?
And then you build around him.
Well, why does
you can't find that guy?
Yeah, but why does it feel like, Charlie, that every year the teams that are desiring a quarterback, and it's most of them, they're always looking for that? I'm going to get this home run with this guy. I'm going to draft this guy and put all our and give him 2 years and see how it happens. And they're always looking for the quarterback when it doesn't. You don't necessarily need that guy, that A+ guy, to win.
Well, you have to have somebody. Okay, let's start there. So if you have nobody that's a viable option, and you're sitting in the draft, you take a quarterback. Okay, one that's seemingly working out is Jacksonville. They quote reached with Blake Bortles for the third pick. The concept was we wait till the second. We're not sure we're going to get anybody, so we take Bortles now. We know it's a reach. We're not going to play him. Well, you have to play him because Chad Henne isn't good enough at that point in his career. So you play him. That one seems to be working out. There's other ones that you reach on that don't work out. I think the way to look at your question, another way is, make sure when you go get the one there that the guy, you're convinced that this is good enough and you're not making a reach. Because when teams make a reach, they know they're making a reach.
Yeah.
Now, what's that mean? That means you're going to sit there and you're going to be horrible and you're going to lose, 14 games, and you're going to be there the next year for the owner. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The owner's going to be able to lose 14 games and sit there and watch you be pathetic on offense. So, that's the flip side of it. Okay? That's where you got to, everybody's got to be on the same page when you reach and when you don't reach for the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Charley Casserly with us here on CBS Sports Radio. Tiki and Tierney Show. Charlie, of course, you see him on NFL Network all the time. He's on Twitter at Charley Casserly. Also, NFL Networks around the NFL, 6 Eastern, total access, 7 Eastern. Got the game tonight. As we said, the Bucs and the Rams. Hey, Charlie, I feel like one of the storylines that maybe because people don't really know the answer, and I trust that you will, but more than I do, what kind of coach, I know he's perfect so far this year, but when you rate him against his peers, how does Ron Rivera truly stack up on game day, adjustments, acumen, all the stuff that really separates the good from the great? Where's he stack up right now?
I honestly can't answer that question as far as he does, and that's not a negative on him. I don't see enough of their games on television. I see a lot of their games on tape. On tape, I'm not paying attention to game time adjustments because you really don't.
Yeah.
When you watch the coaching tape there, you're just evaluating players. So I really don't have an opinion on
I thought you'd have a little more opinion than I have, Charlie, which I understand the way you.
If you don't have an opinion, don't give one.
Well,
Good
I
point.
mean, I understand.
That's what we were all taught.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So the problem is people get questions and they just go say things.
Yeah, that's
do
true.
that, so
You know
ahead.
what, though? Hey, Charlie, though, I'm going to hold you to this. Next time one of your buddies on the NFL Network says, hey, what kind of coach is Ron Rivera? I expect the same answer.
Well, you asked me about in-game adjustments. That's a real fine-tuned question.
Yeah.
In the big picture, I think Ron has grown as a coach. I think he's a leader. I think he's done an excellent job hiring coaches. Single most important thing you have to do as a head coach, besides lead the room, is hire a staff.
Yeah.
And he hired Sean McDermott, and he's hired Mike Shula. Shula's done a phenomenal job on offense, and McDermott's done a phenomenal job on defense. I think the other thing is his team is ready to play. He's shown a guiding influence in tough times. When his job was on the line, it didn't become about him. It became about the team, and it kept about the team. And he was steady as a rock and never wavered in his thought and brought the team back. And then last year they finished on a run, and then, go on and go win a playoff game against Arizona, go to Seattle and darn near beat them. And that's leadership and vision as a coach. And I think he's grown as a coach. So all of those things are good. He's not a self-promoter, so he's not a guy that's going to get talked about a lot.
Bingo. That's what I was getting at, Charlie. Yes.
That's my analysis of coach. Game day adjustments, I can't give you an opinion.
All right, fair enough. There
Yeah,
you go.
you talk about hiring a coaching staff, and I do think it is one of the hardest things for head coaches to do. I think ultimately my very first coach, and Jim Fossil, that was his downfall after he lost Sean Payton and John Fox. He couldn't hire a great replacement. Interestingly, up in Pittsburgh, they got a great replacement in Todd Haley, and the I guess it was contentious early with Ben Roethlisberger, but now it seems to be flawless. When you're a coach and you're coming in, you have a star like Ben, how do you continue to do the things that he did well, but also inject, your new philosophy? Because I think you're starting to see that in some of these other places. You see it in Washington with Jay Gruden, et cetera. You have established players, but you have to put your own touch on it without ruffling feathers. That's difficult to do sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It's a management of people. And I think the first thing you come in and do is you sit down and you look at all the film and you figure out what the guy can do well and where are the areas that he can improve upon. Well, one of them, the guy was getting hit too much, okay?
Yeah.
So how much of that is holding the ball? How much of that is offensive line play? So, you got to sit down with Ben and let's go over the sacks and the hits and let's talk about the big picture. Ben, how long do you want to play? Well, every player wants to play forever. We got that, okay? Well, Ben, at the rate you're getting hit, we're not sure that's going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about some things that we can do to help that. Okay, and so you get him to buy in by figuring out what is his hot button to make it important to him. That's what you have to figure out, and then part of it ends up being his idea, and that's how you get him to buy into the thing. And then the offensive line, it helps the offensive line getting rid of the ball quicker. And I think bringing Munchak in was, a tremendous hire, and they knew it at the time. He was a great hire, and he deserves a lot of credit for that Pittsburgh offense. But that's to me how you have to manage it, the personality in that situation.
Charlie, appreciate a couple of minutes, and I know we'll be chatting down the road. Thank you very much, Charlie.
I'll be watching the game time adjustments of Ron Rivera Sunday against those New York football Giants.
Yes, you have to.
Fully upset.
Hey,
You have
Charlie,
to.
listen, we just want to make sure you have opinions because you never give us any opinions. And, of course, I'm being facetious when we have you on. We just make sure we keep you sharp and you don't get too, the lazy sitting up there in the penthouse at the NFL Network, okay?
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Take care, Charlie.
Thank you very much.